Christmas Island sounds like a place built for a postcard, a remote tropical island in the Indian Ocean, surrounded by deep blue water, covered in rainforest, and carrying a name that sounds almost too perfect for paradise. But once a year, something strange happens here. The island turns red. Millions of giant red crabs emerge from the forest and begin moving toward the ocean. They cross roads, climb over rocks, squeeze beneath barriers, and fill entire stretches of the island. For a few days, humans are no longer the ones controlling the roads. The crabs are. But that is only the first mystery. Because Christmas Island is not simply a tropical paradise hidden far from the world. It is one of the most isolated inhabited places under Australian administration, a place where ancient rainforest, abandoned phosphate mines, multicultural communities, and some of the rarest wildlife on Earth exist side by side. Here, a road can suddenly become a migration route, a forest can become a nursery, and a tiny island can contain an ecosystem found almost nowhere else on the planet. So what is it actually like to live in a place where nature can literally take over the island? And when millions of crabs begin their journey, and do the people living here simply get out of the way? Christmas Island sits in the Indian Ocean, far from mainland Australia, and much closer to Indonesia. On a map, it looks almost insignificant, just 135 square kilometers of land. But this tiny island rises dramatically from the ocean as the exposed summit of a huge underwater mountain. Its central plateau reaches around 360 meters above sea level, while much of the coastline is formed by steep cliffs. In places, the ocean floor drops to around 5,000 meters, only about 200 meters from shore. And that geography explains something important about life here. Christmas Island was never an easy place to reach. The island has almost no natural coastal shelf. Much of its shoreline is cliffs, with only a handful of bays and beaches providing access to the land. The largest is Flying Fish Cove, the island's main settlement and port. The first permanent settlement was established here in 1888, after phosphate deposits were discovered and the island was annexed by Britain. Today, only about 1,700 people call Christmas Island home. The 2021 Australian census recorded a population of 1,692, living across a handful of small settlements rather than a conventional city. Flying Fish Cove is the largest, while places such as Poon San, Drumsite, and Silver City are scattered nearby. For these residents, everyday life is surprisingly ordinary. There are homes, schools, shops, roads, a small harbor, and the routines of a normal community. English is the official language, but Chinese and Malay are also widely spoken, reflecting the island's multicultural history. Yet step beyond the settlements, and the scale changes completely. Around 63% of the island is protected as Christmas Island National Park, much of it covered by rainforest. So here, the distance between civilization and wilderness can be measured in minutes. One moment, you are driving past houses. The next, the road disappears beneath a canopy of ancient rainforest. And somewhere beyond those trees is a world that has evolved in isolation for millions of years. A world where humans are not necessarily the ones setting the schedule. Because on Christmas Island, there is a season when the forest itself begins to move. For most of the year, Christmas Island appears almost completely normal. The red crabs live quietly beneath the rainforest canopy, sheltering in burrows and feeding on fallen leaves, fruits, flowers, and seedlings. Then the rain arrives. Usually around October or November, the first substantial rainfall of the wet season triggers one of the most extraordinary migrations on Earth. Millions of red crabs begin leaving the forest. They are not searching for food. They are not escaping a predator. They are heading toward the ocean to reproduce. Christmas Island's red crab, Gecarcoidea natalis, is endemic to Christmas Island and the nearby Cocos, Keeling Islands. Surveys have estimated that tens of millions inhabit Christmas Island, with older estimates putting the population at around 43.7 million adults. More recent conservation efforts have reported populations exceeding 100 million, and when the migration begins, the island changes. Red crabs cross forest floors, roads, bridges, and rocky slopes. Their bright red bodies can cover the ground so densely that the landscape appears to move. But the remarkable part is not simply the number of crabs, it is their timing. Their migration is controlled by a combination of rainfall, tides, and the phases of the moon. The first rains tell the crabs that the wet season has begun. The moon then helps determine when they must reach the coast. Females release their eggs into the ocean just before dawn, during a receding high tide in the last quarter of the moon. In other words, a crab living beneath a rainforest canopy is somehow responding to signals from the sky, the ocean, and the weather, all to arrive at the shoreline at almost precisely the right moment. The journey can take more than a week. Males usually reach the coast first. They establish small burrows and compete with one another before mating with females. After mating, the males begin their journey back into the forest. The females stay behind. For roughly 2 more weeks, they carry their developing eggs in a brood pouch beneath their bodies. Then comes the moment the entire migration has been building toward. Before sunrise, the females move toward the water. One female can release up to 100,000 eggs into the Indian Ocean. The eggs hatch almost immediately when they meet seawater, releasing tiny larvae into the ocean. For the next 3 to 4 weeks, these larvae live at sea. Many will never return. Fish, manta rays, and even whale sharks can feed on the enormous concentration of crab larvae created during the spawning season, but some survive. After developing through several stages, the young crabs eventually return toward the shoreline as tiny creatures only about 5 millimeters across. Then they leave the ocean. They begin a journey back into the forest. For the first years of their lives, they remain hidden among rocks, leaves, and fallen branches. Eventually, after around 4 to 5 years, they become mature enough to join the Great Migration themselves. And this is where humans become part of the story, because the crabs cannot simply cross the island without encountering roads. During migration season, hundreds of thousands can be killed by vehicles. So the people of Christmas Island have had to redesign parts of their infrastructure around an animal that has lived here far longer than modern roads have existed. Roads are closed, temporary barriers are installed, traffic is diverted, and special underpasses and crab bridges help funnel the animals safely across roads. One of the island's most recognizable structures is a 5-meter-high crab bridge built over Murray Road. For a few weeks each year, the normal hierarchy of the island is reversed. Cars wait, roads close, people slow down, and millions of crabs take priority. But there is another danger moving through this same forest. One far smaller than a crab, yet capable of killing millions of them. An invasive predator known as the yellow crazy ant. And its arrival has transformed the story of Christmas Island from an incredible natural spectacle into a battle for the survival of an entire ecosystem. Christmas Island may look like a wilderness untouched by the modern world. But its forests hide another story. A story written not only by nature, but by people who came here because of what was buried beneath the island. In the late 19th century, large deposits of phosphate were discovered here. Britain annexed Christmas Island in 1888, and commercial phosphate mining began soon afterward. By 1899, workers from Singapore, British Malaya, and China were being brought to the island to work in the mines. This changed Christmas Island forever. The people who arrived to mine phosphate did not simply extract a resource and leave. Many stayed. Communities formed. Chinese, Malay, Indian and European influences gradually became part of everyday life, and that multicultural legacy is still visible today. According to the 2021 Australian census, Christmas Island had just 1,692 residents. Around 22% reported Chinese ancestry, 16.1% Malay ancestry, 17% Australian ancestry, and 12.5% English ancestry. English, Malay, and several Chinese languages are spoken across the island. For such a tiny population, the cultural diversity is remarkable. You can find Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucian traditions, alongside Islam and Christianity. Different communities live within a few kilometers of one another, yet each carries pieces of a much larger Southeast Asian and Australian story. But the island's economy has always been tied closely to its isolation. Phosphate mining was once the dominant industry. The government closed the mine in 1987, although mining resumed in 1991 and remains an important contributor to the local economy. Government services, including health, education, administration, and national park management, are also major parts of life here. Then there is the forest. Around 63% of Christmas Island is protected within the national park, covering much of the island's remaining rainforest. This creates a remarkable contrast. A community of fewer than 2,000 people lives among an ecosystem that contains species found nowhere else. But that ecosystem is not invulnerable. One of its most serious threats is the yellow crazy ant, an invasive species that formed enormous supercolonies and has been blamed for killing millions of red crabs. So Christmas Island is caught between two worlds. People came here because of what was beneath the ground. Wildlife depends on what remains above it, and today, the challenge is no longer simply how humans can survive on this remote island. It is whether humans can live here without changing the extraordinary world that made Christmas Island worth protecting in the first place. Christmas Island may be small, but once you look closer, it feels almost impossible to contain everything that exists here. A remote island in the Indian Ocean, a rainforest filled with species found nowhere else, a multicultural community built around a history of mining, and every year, tens of millions of red crabs crossing the island toward the sea. Perhaps the most remarkable thing is not the migration itself, it is the relationship between the people and the island. When the crabs move, roads close, bridges are built, traffic slows, and an entire community adjusts its daily life to protect a creature that was here long before modern roads and settlements. Today, conservation efforts have helped the red crab population recover dramatically, while scientists and park managers continue fighting threats such as the invasive yellow crazy ant. That may be the real lesson of Christmas Island. Humans came here to extract what was beneath the ground. But eventually, they discovered something far more valuable above it. A living ecosystem that cannot simply be rebuilt once it disappears. And perhaps, on this tiny island at the edge of the Indian Ocean, survival is not about conquering nature. It is about learning when to step aside,